Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and I have a makes video for you today. Now if you're following along at all last week with T-shirt week, you've seen some of this stuff and I just did a lookbook on Sunday, but I thought, you know, since we're all staying at home right now, that it would be fun for me just to show a month by month of what I make. I very rarely do plans videos or makes videos, but you know, why not? This is a weird time. It seems like a good time to do this. So today I'm going to share everything that I've made in March. And I say that, everything I've been made since March 16th actually. And really before then it was just all the Great Module Sew Along stuff that I was making. So there's really nothing that we've missed out there. But this is everything that I've made since being at home. And March 16th was actually the last day that my kids were in a vehicle, to be honest, which is crazy. Anyway, I want to share what I made. And if you're watching the daily vlogs, you've seen all of this, but I've actually styled the items. Can't wait to wear them out of the house. It's going to be very, very fun. But yeah, I just thought I'd talk a little bit more in depth. And if you're not wanting to watch the daily vlogs, which is fine, this is just kind of a recap of everything that I've been doing over there. All right, so let's get started. I've made... some of these things are actually Minerva makes as well, that will have blog posts up on the Minerva site here soon. Ugh. I'm hooked here. Okay, so I'm going to start with things that I've made for my daughter. I don't have everything here with me. She's actually wearing a couple of the items, but I do have actual video footage of her wearing things. So my daughter had asked for, number one, a pair of, she likes high-waisted shorts and pants. She said she just likes the feeling of things being, her waist being kind of sucked in, just gripped, I guess is the better word. She likes that feeling of her waist being gripped. And she loves a good pair of high-waisted shorts, and she wanted some crop tops that she could wear with the high-waisted shorts that were kind of looser a little bit, but that came down past the waistband. She's 13, she's really modest, but she did want some that showed off her waist without showing midriff. So I made for her, this is the Itch to Stitch Melrose top, which actually is a woven pattern, but I made it in this knit. This is a cotton spandex knit from Minerva, in this beautiful, I think it's called Salmon. I'll put a link down below. Any fabric that is available, I will put a link down below. I'm not sure how much of that there is, but you know, because some of this stuff did just come from my stash. Yeah, actually most of it came from my stash. Probably won't have any fabric links for you, but I will have all the patterns that I talk about linked down below. So anyway, this is the Itch to Stitch Melrose. It has nice big deep cuffs at the sleeve. So this pattern can be a dress or a top. Obviously I made the top version. It has a nice wide neckline. I know I'm trying to remember. I guess it's just a bound neckline. So I just wrapped, and the pattern calls for you to use bias binding to wrap the neckband, but I just used a stretchy strip of knit to do that. And then it's got a nice big hem band here at the bottom too that helps weight it. So this is a separate piece. It's not just a deep hem, it's an actual hem band. And then I've cover stitched as kind of a top stitching detail on both the sleeves and the bottom. She used my last Tomcat Stitchery tag just so we could determine what's the front and the back, and she really loves it. So I made this to go along with her white Dawn shorts. I don't have those to show you right now, but I used a white denim that I got from Let's Sew when I went fabric shopping back at the end of February. She wanted the exposed fly front, and I actually have a few of the closet case? Style Maker Fabrics has kits like button fly kits or zip fly kits for jeans, and I think they're the closet case patterns ones. Anyway, I bought quite a few in different finishes, I don't know, like a year ago probably, just so I could have them on hand because I do like to make jeans and I do make them fairly frequently. So she wanted an exposed button fly for these, and so I made those up. I made these shorts for her last year, and I can't remember if she had an exposed button fly or a hidden button fly, but I think it was the button fly. And she loved them so much, but outgrew them, and she just wanted a pair of white ones. So I made her the white shorts, and she absolutely loves them, and I think they're gonna get a ton of wear. Now, if they stay white or not is another story, I've kind of determined my kids should probably not have anything white, especially my son. But anyway, she did really want a pair of white shorts and really loves pairing them with a whole bunch of different things. And again, this is her silhouette of choice, the high-waisted, you know, fits at the natural waist pants. So that was the first two things. And then also for my daughter, I just have one here to show you. The other one she has on. I made her a couple of these cropped sweatshirts. So this is the pink one, and again, I'll pop footage of her wearing both of them. I had just a little bit left over from a bathrobe I made for myself. This is just from Organic Cotton Plus. Oh, dropping things. But it's just some organic 100% cotton fleece. There's not a ton of stretch. Oh, there's a little bit of mechanical stretch, but not a lot. But I bought these wonderful little cuffs from Stoffbright, which is an Etsy shop, and I'll leave a link down to their shop down below. She loves both of these. And we use shoestrings for the lacing. I just got on Amazon and ordered shoestrings. I like shoestrings because they have finished ends. So, I mean, the pattern calls just for drawstring material, but I just bought shoestrings because it's just much easier. She always wears a tank top underneath these. I did raise the neckline. Oh, let me tell you what pattern it is. It's like I'm a novice here. This is M7634. This one is out of print, but I was able to find it on Etsy, and I've made, obviously, this version right here. I did not do any of the racing stripes there on the sleeve. So this was the first one I made her. I only had enough fabric to make a 3/4 inch sleeve, but she really likes this. She thinks it's a lot of fun. And again, she can just throw it over anything. I raised the neckline by 2 inches, which was just very easy. The pattern kind of comes down and then juts out, and then you cut that part on the fold. So you're cutting kind of a rectangle out of the front. I just raised where that line was up 2 inches. And then I shortened the placket piece by 2 inches. And it's still fairly low, but she wears a tank top always underneath these, so I'm not too concerned about it. We got her a couple of tank tops at Old Navy the other day, so she's all set and ready to go. But yeah, I love that. And then I also made her one in leftovers from one of my sweatshirts that I'll show you here in a second. But we made this green one, and we have the kind of the rainbow cuffing that also came from the same shop, that's Stoffbright. And I think it's just a lot of fun. Then we put the purple drawstring or the purple shoestring in there. And when you buy shoestrings off Amazon, you get a second one. So I have another purple and green one for future use. Those shoestrings are also great as drawstrings in pants as well. If you're making a pair of joggers or something, I love to use a shoestring instead of your typical drawstring there. So just a little tip. And you can usually find them, especially on Amazon, for really reasonable prices. So that is everything that I made for my daughter this month. That's gonna change. So yeah, 2 sweatshirts, a pair of shorts, and a boxy top. All right. Now, for myself, so her green sweatshirt came from the offcuts of my green sweatshirt. So this is a beautiful organic, I think it's organic, cotton sweatshirting fleece from Minerva. I made the seamwork pattern Sadie. I've made this pattern before. I love this pattern. It is fantastic for dog walks because it has these 2 big pockets right here in the front that's perfect for empty poop bags and my phone, so I can listen to podcasts or whatever while I'm walking. Now, I did use some leftover merino wool athletic knit that just happened to match perfectly for my cuffs, just for some added interest. And then I also covered the fleece with that same fabric just so it made sense, and it put it on the front. If you're watching the daily vlogs, I was showing this top and totally, I was looking back at the footage and I'm like, are my pockets really that wonky? And to go back and look at the footage, I'm like, oh my gosh. What was I have no idea what happened there. So I did end up taking one of the pockets off and re-sewing it back on, and now we are even once again. Anyway, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I was like, good gracious, Whitney, get it together. So anyway, I love this, just such a fantastic sweatshirt. It's my second one. My first one I made out of just some navy blue sweatshirting fleece that I just had in my stash, and it's starting to look really worn. I mean, I pretty much just wear that one for dog walks, so it's not that big of a deal. Now this one, I think I will get some use, because it does have some shaping there in the waistline. I think it looks cute with a pair of skinny jeans, so this one will get some wear aside from just walks. And I really love the color. This is one of my colors that I've recently had done. So very excited about this piece. That was one of those that is just a really good addition. It's something I actually noticed a need for in my closet where I'm like, I really need another one of those sweatshirts, because when the other one was in the wash, I'm like, oh, I want my Sadie. So I'm glad that I've made a second one now for, because I love them so much. Okay, next up, we'll do the t-shirts and stuff last. Okay, next up, I made, we'll start this one in chronological order. This was the first thing that I actually made once we were in our quarantine. And this is New Look, oh, I don't know what the actual number is. I just have the, well, I'll pop it up here. This is the pattern that I just have the display number, which is not its actual number. But it's this pattern right here. And I'll pop a picture of the actual pattern up here. But this is my iteration. I just love this dress. It is so fun, has a little vintage feel to it. Someone mentioned that it kind of looks like the So Over It 1940s tea dress, and I completely agree. I used some rayon batiks that I got from the University of Sewing, which is a shop down in Bloomington, Indiana. And she has a tailored fit, which is her alteration shop, and then she has a fabric shop attached, and she's a part of my professional sewing group, and we were all just down there. And so I bought a couple of coordinating rayon batiks, and I just love how well they go together. And I have a little bit of the dark green left. I think maybe to do a little camisole or something for myself later on. But I went with the collared version, and I had 2 of these wooden buttons left over from my stash. These are not functioning, they're just for decoration, but I love those there. And I think that it's just very slimming to have the darker panel at the waist. Just a little A-line skirt. There's not pockets in this one. It does have a side zip right there, which I'm not normally a fan of. And you could switch it to the back, but with the collar, you can't have a zipper. I mean, you could stop the zipper. I guess you could stop the zipper up here. You wouldn't have to go all the way to the top. That would have been an option, but I didn't do that. So, yeah, I can't wait to wear this one out. I just think it's so cute and flirty and just a lot of fun. So there is that one. And then with this gorgeous linen that I got also from Let's Sew when I was down there at the end of February, I made Butterick 6676, and I made View C, which has the fuller skirt, and it has the little tie around the waist and just a nice jeweled neckline. And I love this. It was perfect for this border print fabric. And I used one of the darker orange pieces for the waist tie, just because I want darker at my waist, make it look as small as possible. And I used the oranges up by my face. It had aqua in it too, but I just used that here at the bottom, a little away from my face, because that's not one of my best colors. And I'm just really liking sewing within my color palette right now. It's just a lot of fun. I did veer from the pattern, and I lined the entire bodice with a white cotton lawn or cotton batiste that I had in my stash. All you do is you cut out, I think this pattern it had a neck facing, but then called for binding on the armhole, which you could do. But this linen, it was a little bit, just a little bit. So for the bodice, I wanted it fully lined. So I just cut a second set of, front and back pieces out of the lining fabric. And then I installed it like you would an all-in-one armhole, neck hole facing. It's the same thing. If you're using an all-in-one armhole neckline facing, it's the same way to install a full bodice lining. And then I just hand stitched the bottom of the lining to this, the waist seam. So the skirt is not lined. But I didn't think it really needed it. Although, looking back, I do think I need to even out my hem. I think my hem has dropped a little bit on the bias at the side seams, which is not shocking. It's just annoying. So I do need to go back and fix that, and I will. So there is that dress. And then I made it's not my first style art pattern. I made the Como cardigan for Sew My Style last year, but that was just a very, boxy cardigan, which I do love, but I have never really tried any of their other patterns. And so I bought the Monte Dress, shirt and dress, And I was unsure how I would like it on my figure because it's very shapeless. But they were having a sale, and I decided to, and I bought actually a couple of their patterns, and I love this. This is made out of probably, I would call it a medium weight linen. It's heavier than the linen of the dress I just showed you. It has a lot more body, but it's in this drab green, which is also one of my colors, and I just love the way it turned out. I ended up making the flaps, and these are non-functioning, even in the pattern, they're just flaps to kind of simulate a pocket, but I top stitched mine to the bodice, so they're not flapping around, so they're flat against the front of the dress, so you still get the detail without it adding bulk, because I don't normally put flaps on my boobs because I have a large chest. But I love how this turned out. I used these beautiful kind of a tortoiseshell looking buttons from my stash. I actually got them from my mentor Joyce when I inherited a lot of her buttons. It's a really easy pattern to sew. Their instructions are sparse, but this one you didn't really need hardly anything. And I love this so much that I'm actually going to be making the shirt version for my daughter in April. Stay tuned for the plans video. But what I really love about this, and I will show you both footage of me wearing it as a dress, and you can also wear this as a duster, which would be perfect for air condition. As we get into the summer months, the warm months, I always like to have something kind of a layer when it's super hot outside, because inevitably you go to the movies, you go to a restaurant, whatever, when we're able to do that again, and it's freezing. The air conditioning is freezing. So I love the idea of wearing shirt dresses as dusters, and I've seen a lot of people on Pinterest and on Instagram doing this, and I can't wait to try this trend for myself. So I'll also show you footage of me wearing it as a duster. So, love this. I really, really love this dress. In fact, I can't wait to make up some more style art patterns. And again, stay tuned for future videos. So there, that one got made up as well. And then I did a pattern test in March. I'm doing a couple in April as well, but I did one in March, and I did the Itch to Stitch Eddystone jeans. These are a jean made for low to no stretch denim. They sit at your natural waist, and they're kind of a girlfriend fit, which means they're just a little bit roomier through the hip and the leg. So kind of that 90s jeans trend is kind of coming back a little bit, and this has a nod to that without being like really baggy, you know, like the 90s. I remember wearing really baggy jeans in the 90s that fit at your natural waist, and then you'd wear like a crop top with it. I was a teenager in the 90s too. I'd like to preface that. Anyway, I love these. I love that they're different than your typical skinny jean, yet they kind of have a little bit trendier, of a trendier element to them, but I just really am enjoying wearing these. I've been cuffing mine, love them. I noticed Christy Russell, she's done a couple videos on the baggier jeans that seem to be in, and I noticed that she even wears her really thick belts with them and doesn't put them through the belt loops. That's been an issue, you know, the belt loops are only so big, you can only get such a, you know, so thick of a belt in. I say really thick. The thickest I go on my waist is 1.5 inches because I'm a very short torso. She's much taller and has a much longer torso, but I noticed that she was doing that with some of her thicker belts, just wearing them over the jean, not through the belt loops. I'm like, well, that's a smart idea. You still get the look of the belt without having to, you know, be held to what the width of the belt loop is. And I could do a skinnier belt through here, and I've got some, but I love these jeans. I think there's a couple of tweaks that I'll make, mostly to the front rise next time I make them. I want to shorten just the center front rise maybe 1 inch, but I love the way they fit everywhere else. So that would be the only tweak that I would make to these, and that's a pretty typical thing for me because I am, you know, I'm just short everywhere. But I love the way that they fit in the rear end. And you'll notice I'm wearing these with one of my new tank tops. So these tank tops, I have made 6 of these during T-shirt week, if you've been following along. This is the Love Notions basic tank top, and I have started keeping this pattern just out in my cutting table, and when I'm cutting knits, if I can get this tank top out of that yardage, then great, because they're wonderful for layering and wearing standalone as we get into the warmer months. I have shortened this pattern by 3 inches, and I had to do that out of necessity to get a tank top out of it this month, but I found that I really like that length better. This one has the original length, and it's just a lot to tuck in, especially when you've got spandex in your fabric, and so it stretches lengthwise as well as widthwise, and then you feel like you're tucking, and it's just stretching everything, you know. Problems. So I really am enjoying this tank top shortened by 3 inches, so then I can still tuck it in, but I just have much less that has to be tucked. So I actually made this in 6 different colors. This one you're seeing is the orange sherbet color. I made it in 2 merino wools, and then I got actually mustard. It's the leftover of this fabric. This color, a red one. What else did I get? I don't think I got a tan one. Is that 6? I got 6. I can't remember what other colors. I am going to pop a link up to the lookbook though from the t-shirts if you'd like to see all the colors that I made of this. I just didn't want to drag them down here. That's just, you know, I just didn't want to. So I made 6 of these tank tops, and then I made 9 new t-shirts. We had t-shirt week last week, and that was the last thing that I made through March. I should have already popped the link up to that lookbook for those t-shirts, but I'll show as soon as I'm done talking, I'll just show a real quick roundup. I can re-show all of those twirls if you don't want to go click on that. I'll just pop them up here while I'm talking. So I made 9 t-shirts. I made 2 of the Pamela's Patterns Perfect t-shirt. That's hard to say. And people have been asking about this. If you want, I have this is the ballet neckline on this one, and I also made the boat neckline. Those are both in the expansion pack. You have to own both patterns in order to make those necklines. So you do need the original t-shirt pattern, and it has a V neckline, a crew neckline, and a scoop neckline. And then the expansion pattern has a couple of different sleeve options, as well as a ballet neckline, square neckline, boat neckline. So anyway, it's a really good pattern. It's nice and roomy through the midsection. I made this one with the same cuffing that I got from the Stoff Bright Etsy shop, just for something different. And I'm not going to talk much about them because I talked at length about all of them. But yes, I made 2 of the Pamela's Patterns. I made 2 of the Vanessa Poussey Wanted tees. I made one in a left offcuts from Minerva fabric, and I will be, wait for my plans video for April, making up the rest of that fabric in April for a different pattern, but I did have enough for a t-shirt of that, and so I was able to get this gorgeous square neckline. I can't wait to play with this neckline on other things. And then I got it out of a red organic jersey. So hopefully, I'm just gonna talk and pop me up as I'm talking. So I got 2 of those tops, and then I was able to sew up 2 of the Itch to Stitch Idlewild. I did both neckline options. She has a narrower scoop neck and a wider scoop neck. So I made up in the sherbet in the short sleeved, the narrower neck, and then in the merino wool, I did the wider neck, and I did the 3/4 length sleeve on that one. And then I made up 2 Love Notions classic tees. I did the V-neck version and the scoop neck version. I did 3/4 length sleeves on both of those. My V-neck version was made from a thrifted men's shirt that I had cut up from Goodwill, actually a long time ago. I just now got around to sewing it up. And then I did the scoop neck version in a cotton modal blend from Blackbird Fabrics in this beautiful copper color, and I can't wait. That's gonna get worn so much as a neutral this summer. I can already tell. And then finally, I did one in the Seamwork Patterns Ellie Henley. I wanted to show you guys how to do a Henley neck placket. And I did it in a merino wool, a really thin merino wool from the fabric store. And I did the some vintage pearl snaps that I had in my stash. And they don't even have to be unsnapped. I can get this very easily on over my head. As you can tell, it's a pretty wide neckline. So I'm really loving that t-shirt as well. I'm not sure how much that'll get worn now, but definitely as soon as the weather cools off in the fall, that's gonna get worn a ton. So that's gonna be a real big workhorse, I think, is going forward. So there you have it. That is everything that I made for myself and just my daughter this month in March while I have been in quarantine, and it is a lot. So I've cleaned off my clothing rack here, And I do have a few things that are hanging that still need to be photographed for Minerva blog posts, but I've just been making, as I was making things in March, I've completely filled that rack, and I have 18 hangers hanging on that rack. And then some. Not all of my t-shirts and tank tops would fit onto the rack. So now it's all been cleaned off, and now we're gonna start with April, and I'll fill it back up again and then show you guys what I make in April at the beginning of May. So yeah, so I hope you guys are following along with the daily vlogs. It really does show kind of the day-to-day, mostly sewing. I mean, I'm not like taking you around on my household chores and that kind of thing. It's all sewing related, but I'm doing a ton of that right now just because that is what's keeping me sane and helping me recharge my batteries. Okay, so definitely have a look at those, and you can tell the daily vlogs, they're all the same thumbnail. So they're the pink thumbnail that has the sewing machine on it. Those are all the daily vlogs. A lot of them are 2 days combined, just because I don't put those out on the days that I have formal videos going up. So if you want to watch those, that's fine. Or you can just skip them and watch the normal videos as well. But make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so that you don't miss anything. On Friday, I'm going to be going over my 10 spring looks that I'm really crushing on right now, that I've pulled from Pinterest and from various clothing stores' websites, styling and that kind of thing, and then show you the patterns that you can use to recreate these looks. So that's going to be on Friday, and then on Tuesday I have a little pattern and fabric haul I wanted to talk to you about. I bought a few patterns that have been on sale, both commercial patterns, Butterick in particular. They're all Butterick actually. And then also bought some indie patterns that have been on sale during this time, and I wanted to share that with you. And then also some linen that I've recently bought. Again, if you watch the vlogs, you've seen that, but I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about those. And then next Friday, I've got a plans video of what I'm planning on getting done in April that kind of combines all of that. Both the street style looks, the new patterns in fabric, and then, you know, going forward. Yeah. So that's what I've got going forward, and I have a few other plans as well. As far as the sew along Sundays, I think I'm going to do a tutorial on how to remove shoulder pad ease out of a vintage pattern on Sunday, and then I'm kind of going back and forth. I do want to do a, there's a Butterick See and Sew pattern, can't remember the number, I'll pop a picture up here, of a wrap dress that I want to do a sew along for. I've had a lot of questions about how to do a full bust adjustment on a wrap or surplus neckline, and I think that would be a perfect one to show you. And I already have fabric and stuff picked out, and I've been wanting to make that pattern. But I also have some underwear scraps, and I've been asked to do some underwear sewing, and I thought that'd be a fun sew along Sunday video as well, maybe a more lengthy one. But, you know, we could make up some underwear. I have a few different underwear patterns that I just own that I would probably be using. So let me know what you would rather have first. I'll do them both, but would you rather go ahead and have a wrap dress sew along first and then do an underwear, which may be 1 or 2 weeks worth of Sundays, or would you rather me flip it and do the underwear first and then do the dress? So let me know. I can do either. All right, that's all I have for today. I'll see you guys in the daily vlogs, and then I'll see you for another formal video on Friday. Bye.